What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jivers and Goons, and random little bit here, but I started watching the show Titans on HBO. Banger so far. I'm on like episode 6. Oh my god, the casting's great. The flow is amazing. I love everything about it so far. Hopefully, it doesn't flop in the near future, but as far as I can tell, this is shaping up to be one of the goated superhero shows. Besides that, random shout out. Also, my guy Josh finishes Scarab War tomorrow. Make sure to check it out. The new Blue Beetle comic ends one of the craziest arcs. I'm also going to review the entire war once it drops tomorrow. I'll probably have that video out by Wednesday at the latest, but I might drop it same day because it's a fire fucking story. And I'm bringing him and the artist on to talk about it after because it has a lot of ramifications for the DC universe. Now, getting back into this. Smash the like button if you haven't already. It's a classic Goon Rants video. And subscribe if you haven't already. We're on the road to 30K. This is a discussion video and a rant that I feel is very necessary for the current landscape of comic books in general. Because there's a lot of debates and dialogue that goes on with the issue with comic books. Because as you guys know, the sales of comic books and the prosperity of comic books comes and goes. Sometimes they're on fire, sometimes it's ass. And there's many reasons we can contribute to this. But there's one reason I feel is the most prominent, and I really want to get into today. And that is what I believe is the true death of comic books, potential death of comic books, the true cancer that haunts them. And that is diversity, but not in the way you think. Let's get into this. Now, when most people hear diversity with comic books, they think of woke agendas and things like that. Not what I'm referring to at all. When we get into comic books, right, and I want to compare this directly to manga, which dominates the industry. Manga is set in its own universe most times. It's set in its own place, and it has a very limited array of characters, a limited array of scope, because it's a very focused genre. Oftentimes, it's a very focused story, right? That is really one of the only real limitations on manga, but it's something that comic books can't relate to. Let me explain. You see, when we tune into comic books as comic book readers, we have the chance to potentially delve into tens, if not hundreds of times the characters we typically get in a select manga universe. These are characters that can have their own stories, have their own arcs, have their own progressions, have their own battles, enemies, so on and so forth. And I think that diversity, the diversity of storytelling, the diversity of different characters, different atmospheres that you can just dive into, that is the ultimate strength of comic books. If you have noticed throughout the years on my channel, some of the most fun we've had in terms of storytelling, covering different arcs and sagas, it's been with characters that aren't necessarily the A-tier characters, the front page stories. For example, 92 Spectre, one of the greatest runs ever. I will be remastering that soon. New 52 Sinestro, Midnighter, all these characters, they're not the frontline mainstream heroes we typically see, love, and praise. However, the fact that we can dive into characters like these, we can get our own individual stories with characters like these, we can get incredible runs with characters like these. This is what makes comic books so special. It's a multiverse and a multitude of characters that we can truly enjoy and invest on our own time. You could be the biggest Batman fan, but maybe you see something in Midnighter that gives you a fresh breath of air and you go and tune into his stories. You might be a Superman fan. Sometimes you might be into hood rat shit. You'll go check out Kingpin. Fisk has his own stories too. These are the things that make it goated. You might be an Iron Man fan, but hey, you taste a bit of fresh storytelling with Blue Beetle. So on, so forth. There's so many examples. And I think where comics really struggles, and especially in modern times, is embracing this diversity, the diversity of the multiverse. The fact you can jump around to so many different characters and stories and give fantastic dialogue and story arcs. For example, one of the greatest comics I ever read, Kraven's Last Hunt. I think anyone that's read it would agree, generally, that's one of the greatest comics ever written. However, Kraven is not the headliner for Marvel by any sense of the imagination. He shows up from time to time beefing with characters like Spider-Man, but he's by no means the A-list or A-tier of the characters. And the fact we can get some of the best stories from characters that are not in the celebrity list of comic characters, so to speak, it makes it fantastic. It gives you a sense of warmth, like, man, I could really just pick up any comic and read a crazy story about a character I wasn't necessarily familiar with beforehand. But in recent times, comics have kind of gotten away from this. Let me give some examples. On the DC side, we get about 7 to 8 different Batman titles a month. We don't need that shit, okay? You could give us 1 to 2, maybe 3 max from mainline characters. Same with Superman. Same for Wonder Woman. Because you, if you're a normal person like me, are going to sit there reading this shit and say, how the fuck is Batman dealing with 8 different storylines at one time? I know he's the GOAT, but how? Like, that's crazy. That's crazy to compartmentalize. That's crazy to process. And obviously, it overcompensates. It completely dilutes what we're trying to get to. You see, if I have to check out 8 different Batman stories, they're not making time for other characters we truly want to see. They're taking away spotlights from stories that are amazing. Blue Beetle, one of my favorite runs right now. He's turned into one of my favorite characters. Doesn't get as much spotlight as the 27 billion Superman comics currently going on. Do you get my drift? On the Marvel side, they're doing a little better with the array of characters they have. I think X-Men is fantastic right now and is really putting forth characters like Mr. Sinister, for example, who beforehand didn't get much shine. They're doing pretty good, but even they can fall susceptible to 27 Spider-Man arcs, 27 Thor stories. Throw in Hulk in 20 different stories. Thanos in 20 different stories. We don't need that shit, okay? Marvel and DC has been around for decades. They have literal multiverses to call upon, even characters beyond the multiverses. And these characters can present us some of the best stories we will ever read. But the problem is, and what will kill the comic book industry, is when we go away from this practice of celebrating the different characters, of diving into different characters. Power Man number 8, one of the funniest fucking comic books written ever. One of the biggest memes on my channel. You owe Luke Cage $200, you're getting beat the fuck up. Luke Cage is not a mainstream character in Marvel. However, when he's used, people tune the fuck in because Luke Cage is lit. He's always doing funny shit, right? That's just a great character that we can really love. And I just feel like at this point, man, we really need to get in our bags. Comic book writers, get in your bags. Editors, get in your bags. Allow for the expansion of storytelling. When we condense it to just the trinity of DC Comics or the mainline Avengers' most popular characters in Marvel, we're taking away what makes comics so special. The fact that I could put one story down and hop into a completely different story. Manga can't really do that. They're kind of stuck in their own verse. The verses are amazing, but they're kind of stuck in that storyline. Whereas comic books, I can get away from it and pick up a brand new storyline, whole different kind of things. I can go from a Punisher to a Thor, like just a completely different array of storytelling, powers, plot, villains, all that. I just think with all the different critiques we have with comic books these days, talking about, oh, they're trying to go too woke, oh, they have certain agendas. No, I don't actually think that's what's going to be the real cause of death for comics, because truthfully, agendas have been around for decades in comics. What'll really kill it is when we get away from exploring the characters throughout the multiverse, exploring the different characters throughout the multiverse, and instead sticking with the same old every time. You get away from that diversity of storytelling, you kill itself. It's not the other diversity killing it. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you just want a bunch of Batman, Superman stories and that's it, you're good with that, let me know in the comment section down below. If you fell in love with comics like me because you could check out other stories, other arcs, other fantastic worlds within comics like Midnighter, The Authority, Stormwatch, all these things, let me know as well. I'm curious to see how the discussion unfolds. But anyways, it's been your boy Jobbers and Goons. Thank you guys so much for watching. I plan on doing a Dr. Goons episode tonight because I'm feeling better. smash the like button and let me know if you want to see GB on that bitch too, and maybe we'll just argue about random shit. But yeah, anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Go check out Scarabore, and I will see y'all later. Peace.